to review factoring, remember we have a number greater than 1 out front of our x squared terms, so you either have to do MSG or the box method to factor this expression. Again, choose whatever one you feel comfortable with and do that. When you factor this out, we should get 7x plus 6 and x minus 2. So we're moving on to 4.5 quadratic equations. We will be able to solve quadratic equations by factoring and graphing. But today we're going to focus mainly on the factoring part. So for the first, we have to find the zero of our function. And that is the solution of our function, the zero, the root, or the solution. Okay, so the zero of our function is wherever the graph of our function intersects the x-axis. So if we look at our function here, we have two zeros at 3 and at 6. So those are the zeros of our function, or the solutions to our quadratic equation. And then I'm going to ask you, what is the y value of the point at which the graph intersects the x-axis? So if we're on the x-axis, what is our y value? And hopefully you say 0, because we're not going up or below our x-axis. And the zero product property, so if a times b equals 0, then a equals 0 and b equals 0. So we have to figure out the solutions of this quadratic equation, which means for this problem we're going to factor it out. Since our number in front of our x squared term is 1, we can just split up into our two parentheses. Split up your first term. Figure out your two numbers that multiply to be a positive 6 but add to be a negative 5, which are negative 2 and negative 3. Now to find the solutions, that means once we have this in factored form, we set both of our parentheses equal to 0. So we have x minus 2 equals 0. And to get x by itself, you add 2 to both sides, so we get x equals 2. And we do the same thing for our second parentheses, set it equal to 0, so we have x minus 3 equals 0. And again, to get x by itself, you add 3 to both sides, so x equals 3. So the solutions of our quadratic equation are 2 and 3. Now, what do we notice about the numbers 2 and 3 compared to what is inside our parentheses? If you do not want to show all of this work here, all you have to do is take the opposite sign. So a negative 2 becomes positive 2, and a negative 3 becomes positive 3. So looking at this one, what are solutions of the quadratic equation? When we are solving these, they have to be set equal to 0, so you have to move over that negative 12 to the other side. So our quadratic equation would become x squared minus 7x and plus 12 equals 0. So again, when we're solving these out, they must be equal to 0, which means our y value is 0, which is what we want because it's where it hits our x-axis at. So go ahead and factor this out. Split up your x term, write your two parentheses, and two numbers that multiply to be 12 but add to be negative 7 are negative 3 and negative 4. So our two parentheses are x minus 3 and x minus 4, which makes our solutions 3 and 4. 3 and 4. So I'm going to give you plenty of time to work on these quadratic equations, solving them out. And if you notice, some of them you have to just split up your terms, x and x. Some of them you may have to do MSG or the box method for 3 through 5. So go ahead, take your time, come back, figure out all the solutions, and we will talk about them when you get back. So for number 1, your solutions are negative 1, negative 2. For number 2, your solutions are 3 and 9. Number 3, your solutions are negative 4 and 5/3. Number 4, your solutions are negative 4 and negative 8/5. And for number 5, your solutions are 3/2 and 12. Again, if you did not get those solutions, go back, double check your work, and if not, come to class tomorrow ready to ask questions.